can you talk a little bit about mental health and give someone that doesn't, I mean, obviously I deal with, anxiety sometimes and I get depressed sometimes, but I wouldn't describe it on a level that you've described it. You know what I'm saying? Can you help me understand what it is that you feel like you go through in your brain?
Yeah, let me help you and your viewers and your listeners understand that we live in a society today that is manic. We live in a society where everything is uber efficient. You can go on your phone and you can get anything, anywhere, anytime, even love, or sex. Not me. I'm married and happy. But anyway, my point is this: we live in a manic society where everything is moving at a fast pace, but our brains aren't necessarily meant to move that fast. And when I deal with mental health, I'm talking about like living with a depression so great that you believe you are worthless, have no value, and are a burden to everyone who loves you. And when you feel like that, when you feel like you are a burden, like you are hurting other people just by your pure existence, you come to a space in your mind where the pain is so great. I call it lethal emotional pain, right? That's what leads people to suicide, lethal emotional pain. I think though, Mark, in order for you to like really understand how I got to the Golden Gate Bridge or how someone can get that depressed or that mentally unstable, I think in my story you have to know where I came from. I was born in squalor on 6th Street in a crack motel. I was born to a place with a concrete slab floor, barely a box spring for a mattress. Kind of places you paid for by the hour, and if you didn't, you were out. And my birth mom and dad, I'm adopted, my birth mom and dad did whatever they had to do to pay by that hour, on that hour, however illegal. And they did, scored, and sold drugs. And they would leave me and my brother unattended while they went to do, score, and sell drugs.
How long?
First 9 months of my life.
Oh, wow.
First 9 months of my life, I was fed what mom and dad could steal, me and my brother.
Wow.
Kool-Aid, Coca-Cola, and sour milk was my diet. And then what happened is one seedy motel clerk was like, hey, this shit ain't cool. Let's get these kids out of here. And this is a guy who doesn't call the police. He's already doing stuff he's not supposed to. He calls the police. Police come in with Child Protective Services. They take us away from our parents, who loved us. They were just sick. They had manic depression. They coped with drugs. Manic depression is now called bipolar disorder. Same brain disease I've developed. So I'm in this situation. I get taken out of it. I get placed in foster care, bounce around for 9 months. I have a distended belly filled with liquid, bruised from the top of my sternum to the bottom of my abdomen from being malnourished. And my brother does too. And then me and my brother are supposed to be adopted together. We both get bronchitis. He dies.
Wow.
At
what age?
He was only like 9, 10, 12 months older than me.
Oh, wow.
So like my brother, his name is George, may he rest in peace. They say he looked just like me with blonde curly hair. You see it? Anyway, he died, and I immediately developed a severe detachment disorder from reality, 9 months of age, and then I bounced around from home to home. But he died. I got lucky. Patrick and Deborah Hines, maybe their son, and they are mom and dad, and they gave me a beautiful life. But even though they gave me a beautiful life, filled with unconditional love, didn't matter. I got to 17 and a half and my fucking brain broke. Everything fell apart. I was on stage when it happened. I was a theater kid.
Oh, okay.
I was playing Gatch in How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. I was wearing my dad's old suits and ties. And I'm on stage and I began to believe for the first time I have extreme paranoid delusion for the first time ever. I look out at the 1,200 person audience. It was packed. And I thought they were all there to kill me. Just that I had been unraveling. I had been falling apart mentally, but I hadn't been telling anybody. And if I'm honest, I heard voices in the 4th grade, but never told anybody. How does a 4th grader tell their parents they hear voices that are not their conscience?
Right.
And I'm on that stage and I run off and I run to the lobby. And John Fennell, who's in my movie Suicide Ripple Effect. John Fennell was a theater director. He was like a failed actor turned high school thespian director. He was really good. He was the best teacher I ever had. He meets me in the lobby. And he goes, Hines, can you please finish the performance? It's not even intermission yet. What are you doing? And I couldn't speak. I couldn't get up. 3 words in a row that made sense. He called my mom. Mom comes to pick me up. I'll never forget the way she looked at me. I'll never forget the look in her eye. Unadulterated fear. Because she could see the depths of insanity ruining mine. And I went to see my first psychiatrist. And this guy was on entire time he treated me and his other patients, he was one of the best in the field. You know, and he was sick. He had substance use disorder, like my mom and dad, my birth mom and dad.
The psychiatrist you were going to?
Psychiatrist I was going to, one of the best in the field. He was sick. He was having his own pain. Lost a lot of patients to suicide. Would lose his license, his job, and then he would take his life.
Wow.
He would be the second person of 7 people that I grew to really care about, someone who I loved, who would die by suicide. The first being John Fennell, my theater director. So like I've been, my whole life's been riddled with substance use disorder and mental illness and suicide. Lost 7 people I love. My high school wrestling partner, Marty, may you rest in peace, homie. You know, it's followed me. And in the year 2000, in September, I was on this wild ride of mania. Every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I'd skyrocketed into this euphoric natural high that was it was amazing. It was, you know, you could do anything, you could be anyone. I would go and I lobbied to be the president of the United States at 18 in my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
People were like, get away from me. We're not signing your petition. You know? But you know, I got to September 2000, and the weight, the pure weight of the emotional pain was too great, and I folded. I said, I lost my freaking phone.
All good.
Kevin Hines, what the hell, good Lord, it's Mark Domer's podcast. God, do you know what you're doing? You know, I sat in my room on September 24th writing that note. Only 20% of people who die by suicide actually write a note. I wrote that note. Mom, I love you, but you're not always right. Dad, I love you, but stop, you know, stop bringing the office home. This doesn't work. I said to my little brother he wanted to be a DJ. He was making mixed cassette tapes.
Was he adopted as well? Or was
Yeah,
he?
yeah,
Okay.
different family, adopted.
Okay.
We 3 kids, 3 separate families, different races in one house.
Uh-huh.
And I'm mixed. My brother's black, my sister's white. And I said to my brother, be a household name, you know. And my sister wanted to make films. I said, you got this, go get it, you know. I said to my best friend Jake Lewis at the time, it's not you. I said to my best friend Jake Lewis, you'll find another best friend. It's not how it works.
Mm-hmm.
I said to my girlfriend / ex-girlfriend at the time, Mr. Baker, I said, it's not you, it's me. And I put the note in my shoulder bag, and the shoulder bag by the door. And at 6 in the morning, I entered my dad's room. And he wears a CPAP machine. He woke up and he goes, Kevin, what's wrong? He had known of my unwell behavior, and he'd known I was diagnosed. He knew I was on meds. I said, nothing, Dad. I just wanted to tell you that I love you. I wanted to tell him. But as I wanted to tell my dad the absolute truth that I was suicidal and that I was going to go to the Golden Gate Bridge and die, a voice in my head said, be quiet, Kevin. This is inevitable. And I listened. And it led me to take a bus to the Golden Gate, crying the entire time, begging myself to tell the one man who loved me the most in the world on the phone that I was sick. I needed help. I couldn't. Because as I was wanting to tell someone my pain,
Mm-hmm.
the voices were screaming in my head that I had to die. And it wasn't so much that I wanted to die. I believed I had to. What do you do when that happens? And you never experienced it before. And you know how to talk about it, but you feel you don't know how to talk about it. Anyway, it led me to be on that rail. And this woman approaches me from my left, and she had blonde curly hair, she's beautiful. And she goes, Phil, you take my picture? And that's when I was like, nobody cares.
Mm-hmm.
I think today she was actually trying to reach me. She was the only person that engaged, that interacted, that tried to connect. I didn't see it. And the voices won that day. Where 2,000 people have died, I got to live. And I'm grateful for every millisecond I get to walk and breathe. Because I almost couldn't. Like I hit that water, 225 feet, 25 stories, 75 miles an hour. In 4 seconds you hit that water. And the impact reverberated through my legs and shattered my T12, L1, and L2. They just popped and splintered inside me. And I temporarily lost use of my legs. I went down 70 feet beneath the water surface, and I opened my eyes. And all I wanted to do was live. I swam 70 feet with one breath without the use of my legs, as fast as I could, thinking the entire time, if I die here, no one will ever know I didn't want to. that's what drove me. And in the water, I come above water and I keep going down. I can't stay afloat. My boots are waterlogged. So I'm long sleeve clothes, cargo pants. Couldn't stay above water. I keep going down. And I come up one more time. And as I come up and spit out the salt water, I think, I'm going to die today. And no one is going to know all I wanted to do was live. And that is when something began to circle beneath me. It was large, very slimy, and very alive. And I thought, you gotta be kidding me. I didn't die on the Walden Bridge and a shark is going to eat me. And I accepted it. I'm going to die by a shark bite. But it wasn't a shark. It just kept circling faster and faster beneath me. No longer was I waiting in the water. I'm lying on top of being kept buoyant by this thing.
Is it like hitting you?
It was bumping me up. I was no longer swimming. I'm lying on my back, being kept afloat by this thing, thinking, when is it going to bite me? I go on a show called Primetime Live on ABC with John Quinones. He does the show, What Would You Do? On the show, I say I thought there was a shark in the water beneath me. People wrote into the show from all over the world. One man's letters took out of all the rest. His name was Morgan McWard. Shout out Morgan. He was from Las Vegas, Nevada. He was on the bridge that day with his mother. He was next to me when I jumped. He wrote to me, Kevin, I'm so very glad you're alive. I was standing less than 2 feet away from you when you jumped. It's haunted me until right now watching this show because no one would ever tell me whether you lived or died. By the way, Kevin, there was no shark. There was a sea lion. And the people above believed you to be keeping you afloat until the Coast Guard boat right behind you. And that's why Herbert is right on my shirt.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
Why
right.
do you call him Herbert?
I named him that day.
Herbert.
Herbert. It was either Herbert or Mortimer, and I went with Herbert.
I like that.
Yeah, man.
I wouldn't have known what that was. I should have asked.
It's all good.
And it's led you, and I'm glad you're alive. I'm glad you're here
Thank you, bud.
because you've transformed this into a positive.
Yeah.
Be Here Tomorrow is what you say. You have your documentary coming out.
The documentary is, the docu-series is coming out.
Docu-series.
Yeah, we're working on that right now. The documentary is out, Suicide the Ripple Effect, at suicidetherippleeffect.com. All around the world, it's been seen by 35,000 people in the last few months. It's been seen in 20 different countries. It's a beautiful film about recovery from pain.
And how have you, from being so down, thinking the world's against you, and being in your own head, how have you transformed that into, because you're such a positive light now, you know what I'm saying? You're always happy. Well, you project it, you know what I'm saying? I know, I'm sure you talk about, you still deal with the same struggles.
There's a lot of pain.
But how do you project your positivity? How do you project the happiness? How do you project the Be Here Tomorrow to not only yourself, but to other people that are struggling with mental health?
One thing I don't do, I mean, I project that certainly a lot of the time, but when I do post on social media when I'm in pain.
Okay.
I share the pain. Not a lot of people do that these days. When I'm going through depression and I get past it, I'll write about what it was like and how I got past it, how I broke free from the pain. Because even though with this new diet and this new lifestyle, I'm feeling much better, I still get hit with depression, paranoia, delusions, mania, psychosis. And when that happens, I have a support network in my life that, like my wife, Margaret, and my father, Patrick, and some other folks, and they really, I can tell them anything. I can tell them anything, they're not going to judge me. So when I go through it sometimes publicly, and I just tell the truth. And when I get through it, I'm like, hey, we got this. We, as in, like, you got your donation, like I have the Be Here Tomorrow folks all around the world who follow that mantra, and I got people that write to me and say, this helps keep me here one day at a time. Every day I go to myself, just be here tomorrow and get to tomorrow and then take it from there, because there are so many people, Mark, that live with chronic thoughts of suicide. They're adding it to the DSM-6, which is the diagnostic tool for mental health in the world, and they're adding chronic thoughts of suicide as its own disease, which is terrifying. Mm-hmm. Our children are living with a lack of resilience in their lives today because we're not teaching them how to cope with pain. We're teaching them how to be cool on these things.
And I was going to talk about that because I think what I've heard of is depression's reached an all-time high, and I think a lot of it has to do with social media, to be honest. It's like we sit, we compare ourselves to what other people have, what other people look like, what their lifestyles look like, but it's like you could be at a low point in your life, but you're looking at someone's Instagram, which is a highlight reel, with all the highs in their life, you know what I'm saying? Like, I like to project the happiness and the positivity in the life that I live, but I obviously deal with days where I'm not happy. But I don't want to put that out in the world, but I like that you do talk about the days that you're not happy, so people do understand, look, I do project all this positivity, this happiness, but I still struggle, and I think that's important. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you approach people that are dealing with mental health, or, because you've dealt with, you mentioned 7 people in your life who've committed suicide, and I'm sorry, died by suicide.
Thank you for that. Yeah,
Yes.
we say died by suicide because committing sounds like they're committing a crime and they're bad people, but really they're done. Like, your brain is an organ just like every other organ in the body.
Right.
Everything can get diseased,
Right. How do you were there signals there? How do you approach someone and say, look, are you okay? How do you, without being, what if there is no issue? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like approaching someone with mental disorder or anorexia and be like, look, and without making them insulted, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it's a matter of how you look at them and how you listen to understand, but not to respond. So I think, like, when you see someone who you know is in pain, whether you can visibly see the pain on their body, the form of their body, or through their eyes if you see they're in pain, approaching anyone in that situation, physical, mental, emotional pain, and saying, hey, I don't want to intrude, but I gotta be honest with you. I care about you, and I'm really worried about you. I think you're going through something that you're not talking about, and I'd like to be there for you. Compassionate eyes, non-judgmental, and then when you want to ask someone who you think is suicidal. You want to ask them directly.
Mm-hmm.
Are you suicidal? Have you ever made plans to take your life? People's myth is that the thought in their mind when they're not thinking about it, that's not happening. They're not thinking about that. Look at you, Simon's going to get away from me. And I've had that happen. But if they are thinking about it, you've just given them permission to tell the truth about the greatest pain in their entire life. And often, man, like statistically speaking, when people ask that question, most people are truthful.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get an opportunity to change and potentially save a life. I was on Market Street in San Francisco, between Civic Center and Embarcadero. So Civic Center and Market Street in San Francisco is the gutter. It's dilapidated. It's filled with homeless individuals, people without homes, and people who are on drugs. And Embarcadero is opulence. It's people in $5,000-$10,000 suits walking around,
Right.
girls in high Jimmy Choos and all that. And in between there, I'm walking, and I'm going to do a job interview, and living on Social Security disability, trying to get back into the world, and I'm going, and I see in the distance a man who's clearly without a home, and he's got a blanket over him, and blood is quickly pouring out from underneath the blanket, like a lot of it. And I watch all these opulent type people look at him and step over him and continue.
Mm-hmm.
And I ran over there. I called the police. I lifted up the blanket. He's been stabbed. He's bleeding out. I waited for the ambulance to get there. They took him. I don't know what happened to him.
Mm-hmm.
God, I hope he's alive. But I watched at least 6 people look at the blood and keep going. If that is the society we live in,
Yeah.
that is a problem.
Yeah.
So my point, Mark, to bring it back to your question, when you see someone in potential lethal emotional pain, I don't care if you don't know them from Adam. I don't care if you don't love them. I don't care if you don't like them. Put your arm around them and say, I got you. I don't know you, but I got you and I care because you're human and so am I. And I'm over here for you. And you don't have to do the things you're thinking about. And I want to help you get to a safe place.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, you see a lot of people struggling on the streets, obviously, and you don't even think twice. You just, go about your day, especially in Hollywood. You've been coming here, you see hundreds of them in Skid Row, and it's bad. It's definitely not something you want to see at all. But I want to talk about what's your movement right now with Be Here Tomorrow?
So Be Here Tomorrow is a movement that we moved from, like Facebook and Instagram to now YouTube, and we got the YouTube vlog going that was inspired by Logan and all that Logan's doing to make kids smile, and I wanted to find a way, I'm new at this game, I'm learning,
Right.
and the Be Here Tomorrow movement is something that has been turned into shirts in Japan and China, and people are like taking it and embracing it all over the world.
Is that something you came up with?
Yeah, man.
Be here tomorrow?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Okay.
I had this, I had heard the saying,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, man, that's got to be on a shirt, and that's got to be a worldwide movement. We made this, we made a song with this cat AV, who's this rapper who made the song Be Here Tomorrow for the film Suicide Ripple Effect. It's at the end of the movie, it's available online. It's a beautiful song about surviving suicidal pain, and it's gorgeous, and it inspires people when people hear it to change their lives. And people write in, like I have these cats like now we a friend of mine named Mary Contrary Mary on Instagram made this Beard Moi tattoo that she got, and now all these other kids are getting it. And it's the sea lion. It's Herbert. It's my sea lion, just like this, with these beautiful flowers painted on the inside, and this beautiful script Beard Moi, and people are getting it tattooed on their arms and their legs, and it's amazing. It's a wonderful thing because people attach to it and they let it save them every day, one day at a time. It's gorgeous, you know.
That's amazing. Do you go? I see you always talking in front of people. What is that? Is that like Is that like? Do you go to schools? Do you go to conferences? What is that like?
All of the above. Like I go to schools, conferences, military, law enforcement. I go all around the world, probably 320 days a year, telling this story.
Okay.
And I do it in a way that is safe messaged, that is transformative. And my wife, Margaret, she actually commissioned a white paper that's coming out soon on how the way I tell my story has a transformative effect on the brain scientifically to change and save lives. So we got a white paper that's done by some of the best suicidologists in the field, people that study prevention, and they determined that the keywords I use and the way I tell the story and the way I formulate the story with the aspect of recovery. So I do talk about the method, which some people don't like, but I talk about the method to then talk about how I live in recovery, how I stay in recovery, and how I stay alive with suicidal thoughts that are chronic.
Do you, to stay alive, to control your thoughts, do you rely on yourself, or do you rely on support system, your wife, Margaret, your dad, your friends, your family? Who do you rely on the most?
Faith, family, and friends. So I have a faith in a higher power. I'm not going to push that on anybody. That's my prerogative. I always have. I only lost it the day I went off to go and get bridge. I found it on the way down, and I was praying, and it saved my life. So the sea lion Herbert's for real.
Yeah.
So I have a faith that's strong, and I have a family that's strong. And here's the thing: a lot of people don't have that. Your mom and dad, I see them on your vlogs. They're beautiful people, and we're lucky to have that kind of mom and dad. But a lot of people don't. A lot of people have abusive and neglectful moms and dads, or no moms and dads at all, or one of the two. And I travel around the world trying to help people who don't have it all, who don't have that support network. Find reasons to support themselves, find ways to be resilient as hell in the face of pain, and that's the Beard Moi movement. It's like we can do this together. We can fight the pain in spite of the pain to thrive one day at a time. And we got this on lockdown. My support network is large, it's vast, but I build it every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like now, you and me.
Yeah.
We're friends for life, homie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least I hope so.
No, I love the fact, like, I'll get random texts from Kevin all the time. Just like a video of him like, yo, like hyped as hell, like he's like, I love you guys.
I was thinking about you today, goddammit.
I love that. I think that's important to be there for people, so that they feel loved, so that they, like, everyone deserves to have someone in their corner, you know what I'm saying? And
Have you ever had a severe mental health crisis? The first thing you fucking do is call me.
Call Kevin Hines. His
on
phone number.
I'll be on a plane in a heartbeat.
And that's amazing. That's an amazing quality about you, because not a lot of people. I know some people that have, they've reached out and people just didn't care. You know what I'm saying? And that's the worst thing in the world. But myself, I really haven't dealt with, what you have dealt with. I have, in high school, I think one person that I knew, I didn't know them, I just knew of them.